But the story of the day, again, as DeSager just told you, we have a final in Kansas City. Kansas City wins 32-29. I know DeSager just gave you all the details, but I'll reset it for anybody just joining us. This game was not about the refs. This game was not about favoritism. This was about one team performing in big moments and one team that was just fundamentally poorly coached. Buffalo trailed 21-10 in the first half. They score a touchdown, make it 21-16, kick an extra point. There's a penalty on the play. Sean McDermott takes the point off the board, decides to go for two. They don't get it. Then in the second half, score again to go up 22-21. Again, go for two. They don't get it. That, in large part, was the difference. You take points off the board. You end up losing. By the way, a play that will be replayed in infamy, fourth down, right around the 2-minute warning. Buffalo, there's pressure on Josh Allen. He throws it up. The ball literally goes through Dalton Kincaid's hands. To me, Ephraim, I don't know if you've been able to see the replay or not. That's not a Mark Andrews situation from a week ago. Josh Allen,
not at all.
Yeah, Josh Allen kind of threw a duck up there. It was, just whatever.
It was a hope and a prayer.
It was a hope and a prayer. That's the best way to put it. You know what else I think it was? I think it was a metaphor for that game. Buffalo did not deserve to win. They did not get the break when they needed it because they didn't deserve it, because they weren't the better team. Kansas City is going to another Super Bowl, a third straight Super Bowl, and it's just unbelievable. It's just unbelievable. And I'll be transparent. Take it where you want, Ephraim. This falls on one man, in my opinion, and that is solely Sean McDermott.
Yeah, to your point, we just sat here, we watched this game, and early on, we noticed that this one feels a little different. This, to me, felt like it wasn't going to solely be on the participants on the field. And as a former player, I'm always one that's like, look, they call the plays, you got to do what you got to do. But I've also been on teams where things weren't conducive or didn't help you in certain situations. And if you ask a player, do they want to go for it on fourth down multiple times, of course they're going to say yes.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what we do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get that. I understand that. I admire that. Yeah, I want as many shots at this thing as possible. It is a coach's responsibility, if you do decide to do that you put your team in the right play to accomplish that goal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem I'm having.
When I think about this game, I just think the two teams played to their coaches' personalities, at least on this day. I don't know what Sean McDermott's like on a Tuesday in June, but Andy Reid, there was never, think about, there were big chunks of the game where Kansas City was down. There were big chunks of the game where Kansas City was tied. Buffalo had two quick strike scoring drives, boom, 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 boom. I never felt in a single moment that Andy Reid was nervous, that Patrick Mahomes was nervous, that Steve Spagnuolo was nervous, etc. The counter to that, you know what I feel like Buffalo was? A little bit like Baltimore last year in this exact same spot. It felt like they were playing the ghost of 50 touchdown Patrick Mahomes that put up 45 points on everybody.
Yeah.
And it was, we got to get every single, it's like, listen, you're a basketball coach, so it's a perfect analogy. You know how when you're down 10 and you tell your players there's no 10-point shot? Or you're down 15, there's no 10-point shot, so let's cut it to 10 and then let's cut it to 5?
Yeah.
I felt like Buffalo, the entire game, was playing as if there was a magic 21-point play that they needed to get every single play of the game, and they just played tight, man. They just played tight. The coaching, it was coaching malpractice. I don't think there's any other way to say it. Go ahead.
It didn't seem like they were confident.
Exactly. That's the perfect word.
It felt like, oh God, here we go again.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Based on some of the decisions, why would you not put the game in the hands of arguably which probably is going to be the MVP of the league?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
If you run a play, and here's my biggest problem, and the functionality of that play isn't conducive to it being successful, would you run it 3 more times?
Nope. And then
that's the problem.
And then when you get it, but you only get it because you fumbled and recovered it, do you then run it 3 more times after that?
No.
You know what I'm saying?
That is the problem we're having. That is where I'm like, oh, there's a problem here. That's a real situation. That shouldn't happen. It should not happen.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
And so when it does happen, my spidey senses are going off. Like, wait, what's going on over there?
Mm-hmm.
They didn't even run the play in a way where it could be successful.
Yep.
There was no leverage gained on the, and we're talking about the quarterback sneaks that they continue to run on 3rd and 4th and 1. There was never a time where they won the leverage battle.
You're right.
On any of them. But you kept running them.
Yep.
And that's the problem. And that's why we're being hard on McDermott, because that is a him call.
Yep.
If you hear that come in from the OC over the walkie, you say, oh, no. We're not doing that. We're not getting the leverage. They have some, they're reading something. It's not working. Let's do this.
Mm-hmm.
That's where you separate yourself in the caliber of coaches, what level you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so when they go back and look at this, it may be one of those situations where they're like, look, Josh Allen, especially if he wins the MVP, because now you can say, well, it was Josh who got us here.
Yep.
He carried us here. He had the least amount of talent of any of the people who were up for MVP. And he got us within 2 points of going to the Super Bowl.
Yep.
You didn't help him, so you need to be replaced.
So
the only problem with that is
that's what I was going to add. That's my
there are no
next question.
coaches available.
That's my big problem. So first of all, I think we see this in sports sometimes, is 2 things can be true. Sean McDermott took a team that was in a historical rut. What was it? 1 playoff appearance in 20 years, no playoff appearances in 18 years, whatever it was. And he got them to a certain level. Now, it's a credit to Josh Allen. It's a credit to a lot of people. Brian Dable, who you referenced earlier, the former OC, Joe Brady, who's doing great things now. But there are, in sports, we've seen this over and over. There are guys that can get you to a certain level, but can they get you over the hump? We all watched The Last Dance. Michael Jordan wasn't Michael Jordan until he had Phil Jackson. Whoever.
Kobe and Shaq. Phil Jackson.
Kobe and Shaq, Phil Jackson. And, I don't know who the answer is. There's a difference between what you think will happen and what should happen. What I think will happen is they're going to run it back again. You know what it's almost like? I'll tell you this. It's almost like Ohio State with Ryan Day before they actually won the championship. Because it's like you're just good enough where – were you going to say something?
No, I was just looking. We're in the studio, and they're interviewing Sean McDermott right now. And, boy, I'd pay to hear what he has to say. Looks like he's been crying a little bit. They may have fired him already. I'm just saying. They didn't fire him.
I know. No, but with Ryan Day, before he went on this run, can't beat Michigan, but you're so good that you're in the position that it's really hard for us to make a move. but you just can't do this one thing.
Still can't beat Michigan.
Still has to beat Michigan. It's a fair point. And I look at that with Sean, but it's also with Ryan Day. It was the timing thing of they made the playoff this year. Well, you can't wait until the end of December because no coaches are going to be available. And that's where I think it gets tricky with Sean McDermott is whoever you deem to be the perfect guy. Mike Vrabel, Bill Belichick has a signed contract that he cannot get out of. Ben Johnson, I don't know if he would have been the guy. I mean, the only answer really is Joe Brady, who obviously interviewed for a bunch of head coaching jobs. And I don't know, do you hand the keys to a 32, 33-year-old guy who's a year or two older than Josh Allen? My thing is, I just don't think you can run it back. He coached tight. By the way, let's not forget, he coached tight last year, too, when they had the lead at home against KC. So you made an analogy earlier, Ephraim. You said if you're a husband and you come home one night, you had a few beers, whatever, okay. Second night, you shouldn't have done it, but I forgive you. Your third night, now we got a little bit of a problem. Fourth night, I'm calling the divorce lawyer. Enough is enough. And you look at McDermott think about all the different scenarios. The first year they lose to him, well, they're established, they're this, they're that, we're on the way up. Year two, we are so close, 13 seconds away. You get one play, and there was that whole thing with who was even the defensive coordinator, Leslie Frazier. Oh, whatever. Well, it's Leslie Frazier's fault. Then last year, it's, we were at home. There is no more excuse. You've had him at home. You've had him on the road. You've been up at the half. You've been up in the fourth quarter today. You can't get over that hump. And so it's tough because I don't know who the answer is, but here's what I keep coming back to, Ephraim. Josh Allen's about to be 29 years old in May. Mm-hmm. Listen, you played this sport at the highest level. And let me just ask you, people can say, oh, Brady played till he's 45. Tom Brady does not play like Josh Allen plays.
No.
Tom Brady did not take the hits and I don't care that he keeps getting up from all of them. I would never wish this upon anybody, but at some point he's not going to be able to get up from one of them. And so he's going to be 29 years old in May. How many years do you think he can keep playing at this level? And you can't keep falling short and expecting to come back and do it over and have a different result.
Yeah, that clock is running and it's going faster and faster.
Yep.
And it's a situation now where you're looking at it and he's got to look at himself in the mirror. And is Sean McDermott the coach that can get you over the hump? I don't believe so. So if you don't think so as a franchise, an organization, an ownership group, then what are you waiting for?
So can I jump in on one thing real quick? I think there's always this belief of if you fire him, who are you going to get who's better? Here's my counter to that. With Josh Allen, do we think it's going to get worse? Because that was I'll go back to the Ryan Day analogy. People would be like, well, how can you get rid of Ryan? It's you can find coaches that can go 10-2 and not beat your biggest rival. Now, good for Ryan Day because he put it together, he won a championship. But you mean to tell me, just take X coordinator, X whoever, for whatever. Take anyone with whatever. You mean to tell me they can't come in next year and win 13 to 14 games, the AFC East, and have a home playoff game? It's not like if you fire Sean McDermott, you have to replace him with Aaron Torres or producer Pat here. They're going to be functional, and I think
I take producer Pat.
Producer Pat, could you get 13 wins out of this team? Could you get 13 wins and not beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game?
You know what? If I'm throwing Uncle Rico from Napoleon Dynamite, I think I can.
Dude, but that's the point, though, is you can't just use the excuse of it could get worse. I don't know. I think this is rock bottom.
Yeah, I don't think it gets worse with a talent like Josh Allen.
That's what I mean.
First of all, you need to bolster your roster, get him some more weapons, and defense, need another edge rusher. Love Von Miller, but, he's playing about a third of the defensive plays. And you have to move on from Sean.
I agree.
It can't be a situation where you're locked into it and we've seen this movie.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be watching the same movie a year from now.
Which is what we said this day last year.
Same thing.
Yep.
Same thing. So, it's crazy to think that you could be fired after losing by 2 in the NFC Championship game, or 3 by in the NFC Championship game. All right, excuse me, AFC Championship game. But yeah, you can, especially when you get out coached. Because if that's your goal, is just to get to that game. And remember, last year they had home
field, no doubt.
Didn't matter.
Did not matter.
Last year they beat the Chiefs in the regular season. Didn't matter.
Beat them this year in the regular season.
Didn't matter.
Didn't matter. It's so frustrating. I'm not a Bills fan, but it's just because you have a talent like Josh Allen, and you see the talent being wasted. We haven't even talked about the coaching carousel stuff from this week, but I'm excited for Ben Johnson with Caleb Williams. I don't know if Caleb Williams is going to be good, but at least the Bears are putting him in a position where if there is talent there, we think they have the right coach. With Josh Allen, that talent is being wasted, and I go back to what I said. Don't tell me who are you going to get that's better. I think just about anybody that's functional in the NFL can get you 13 to 14 wins in the AFC East as things currently stand and in this position. And I think the question is, can you find the guy to get you over the hump?